Hey there, welcome back to another episode of Beeple Reactions. Now, before we get into today's image, I just want to give a big shout out to Beeple, the artist behind the 5,000 day images, the most expensive NFT to have ever been sold, ever. And you know, these images are just so cool, they're just nothing like anything you've ever seen before. Why should you check them out? Because they're so relevant. If you're worried about the future and the metaverse and the future of technology, especially in relation to what your children are going to be looking at and what your children are going to be believing in, you know, a lot of parents are worried about this. I'd highly recommend checking out Beeple, checking out his images. The link is in the description. I don't get paid to promote him. The man's a multi-millionaire. You know, he's got no business dealing with me, but I think since I've made a channel about him, it's only right I shout him out. So let's get into today's video. This image is titled Goat Emoji. Goat Emoji. And what's quite cool about this image, which I haven't seen in another Beeple image so far, is that Beeple has another one of his images, I think, within this image. If you go on the Beeple website and look at the images, they have this sort of framework to it. You see the text below the image, it will say hashtag whichever number, edition, whatever, and that's how it's structured, you know, on the website, and it's on Google Images as well. A lot of his images, they show the image, they show the title beneath it, they show the hashtag whatever number, and it's laid out in that exact format. So Beeple has an image within an image within this image. So in this image, what we're seeing is a goat. You know, that's clearly a goat looking at another goat in the form of an image. They seem to be contained within this frame. The image of the goat, the Beeple image, is within this metallic looking frame, which is partially engraved beneath the ground. It is daytime, and there's nothing else really going on in the image. You've just got a goat looking at this massive structure, whatever it is. Now let's get into it. Let's get into what is this image trying to show, what does it all mean, and let's try just figure this out. So obviously we have a goat, and within all of Beeple's images there's an element of personification. So does this goat genuinely represent a goat? Probably not. It probably represents something to do with a human. I would say in regards to humanity, a goat personifies a human with a big ego. You know, a human with a big ego. A goat, G-O-A-T, stands for greatest of all time. So when I think of a goat in relation to human, in relation to personification, I think of you know, someone with a big ego, and he's someone who's looking at himself. The image that he's looking at, this massive metallic image, whatever the hell that is, it's an image of himself. He's looking at himself, which is something someone with a big ego would do, is they look at pictures of themselves. We all know that one guy who's got a big ego, he thinks he's God's gift to earth, and he's got a picture of himself as his background or his screensaver on his phone. We all know that person. Like, so I think that's what this image is trying to show. It's not talking about goats. It's not an image about goats. It's a form of personification, and it's showing a guy with a big ego looking at a picture of himself. And what's also quite interesting about this image is that if you noticed, the environment of the real goat seems to be very dark, and it seems to be a very mundane place, whereas if you look at the image of the goat, it's really bright and it's really light. There's a lot of colors and a lot of nice flowers and plants. So what that makes me think of is people's reality versus their reality on social media. A lot of people within real life, they're living dark realities. They're depressed, they're unhappy, they're miserable. But on social media, if you'd see them on social media, you'd think they're living life, they're living the best life ever, everything's perfect, you know. So I genuinely believe this goat is a form of personification for a human with a big ego, looking at a picture of himself and kind of studying how his reality is actually quite dark and quite gloomy and quite depressing. However, on social media, if you were to look at this picture of him, you'd think he's living life, you'd think he's in heaven. You know, you see a lot of people do this nowadays. You know, they're going through all sorts of problems and mental problems and family problems and house problems. But on social media, they're showing themselves with nice cars, eating nice food, smiling, posting with friends, posing in pictures, hanging out in parties. So, you know, this to me makes me think of social media reality versus social media reality. And I think the depiction is quite clear, it's clear enough, and you know, it's a massive metal frame, which makes me think of a phone, you know. I think that's supposed to be a phone, not really a frame. I think it's supposed to show the phone, and the goat represents social media, the goat looking at the other goat. So yeah, I think I've figured this image out. I think we've sold it. It shows someone, a man who's living a depressed life on social media, looking at himself living a happy life on social media, and just the whole psychology behind that kind of thought process and that kind of experience. So yeah, man, make sure you check out yesterday's video, make sure you check out the video before that. We've got a lot of videos on this channel. Some are more interesting than others, some we kind of figure out straight away, like this one, whereas other ones it takes us a bit longer to figure them out. There's some pictures which are quite simple, there's not really a lot going on, there's not too many characters. You've got other images which have got so much going on, so much variety, so many elements, so many characters, so much symbolism, and it takes a lot longer to figure it out. But nevertheless, these Beeple images were made to be studied, they were made to be talked about, and as the years go by, as the future unveils itself, we're going to see more and more people talking about Beeple, discussing Beeple, and you know, going inside of Beeple. As crazy as it sounds, these images are going to be portals within the metaverse. So on that note, if you noticed anything I didn't notice, if you want to touch on something which I neglected to touch on, then please leave your comments down below, leave your opinion, let's get talking. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, set the notifications, and tune in next time. Thank you.